Hello, I'm Vivienne McGrath from beingunbeatable.com, and in this video I'm going to be talking about narcissism relationships, overt, covert and malignant narcissists. I actually never even heard the term narcissist when I was in an abusive relationship because that was quite a while ago now. But it seems like the buzzword, you hear it, living with a narcissist, loving a narcissist, leaving a narcissist, and it is very pervasive and almost ubiquitous. Narcissists seem to be everywhere. So I thought it'd be worth talking about, well, what are the signs of a narcissist? Well, first and foremost, to a narcissist, the only thing that's important is them. It's all about me, 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 me. They are the only thing that matters. Nobody else does. They have this really grandiose sense of entitlement, a self-inflated ego. They're right, everybody else is wrong. And if you have a different opinion to them, they will disparage it, dismiss it, ignore it, negate it. Basically, I think you'll find I'm right, you're wrong. The world revolves around them. If you have a conversation with a narcissist and you dare to sort of try and change the conversation to be a little bit about you, very quickly they will turn that conversation back to around them again. And they also have rules that they will apply to everybody else but themselves. So they'll apply a rule for you. For example, it's an unwritten rule. You've got to sort of work it out, but there will be a rule that applies to you, such as you're not allowed to flirt with anybody because if you do, all hell will break loose. But if they want to flirt with whoever they want, that's irrelevant. That's their right. They're entitled to do so, because if you ever put it out to them, they will just tell you you're making it up, you imagined it. They'll shift the blame back onto you. Well, of course I'm doing that. You weren't giving me any attention. So the rules will apply to you, but not to them. They also violate boundaries. They test to see if they can push boundaries down, and if they can, they'll crash through them. And once they've done that, they'll test again, and they'll test again, and they'll test again. For example, in the beginning of a relationship, a narcissistic type relationship, you'll get this flash of anger from them. And it's just a test. It's just a test, because no sooner they've done that, then you'll get the nice side back. But if you question them about that behavior and confront them with the truth of that about their behavior, they will flip it back onto you and just gaslight you, saying that didn't happen, you made it up. And if you then take on or accept that blame in a way by staying with them and not walking away, well, then they think, great, I've violated that boundary, I can now crash through the next boundary. So they're very, very, very good at crashing through those boundaries. And, you know, narcissists they're not just these nasty pieces of work. They can be everywhere. They pretty well are ubiquitous. You might find them as a charming boss at work. They might be your nice neighbor next door, because they come in many forms. And also, they're not all overtly narcissistic, the one who are, you know, the grand inflated ego and often very charismatic, the life of the party, draw everybody to them, but really they're attention seeking and they demand attention. And if people agree, they get quite angry, dismissive and all that. They're not always overt like that. They can also be covert. And the covert narcissist is the type that is a lot quieter, and it's hidden, you know. Beneath all narcissist is this very fragile sense of self-esteem. They're actually deeply insecure. And so the ones with the grandiose sense of self-entitlement and ego and all of that bluster, and it's about me, and they often will inflate their achievements, and they're better than anybody else, they've achieved more, they're greater, they're better looking or whatever. That's just hiding the fact that they're deeply insecure. It's a denial, it's a coping mechanism. And the passive or covert narcissists, they don't do all that outward stuff. They're quieter. But it's more a judgmental, they're very quick to judge. They read you very quickly, and if they don't like you and don't feel they're going to get anything from you or feel good about themselves because of you, then they'll just dismiss you, block you, ignore you. They can be very passive aggressive and quick to judge and very passive aggressive. And that could come in, you know, the form of sarcastic jokes that, you know, sound like they're just playful and making fun, but really they're quite cutting and hurtful. So they all have the same fragile core, but some are more covert than others. And then you get the extreme narcissist that is the most dangerous, and that's the malignant narcissist. Now, the malignant narcissist, they very much have that fragile core and that very insecure sense of self. So they have to deny that and protect that by creating this very inflated, grander person than they really are. You know, it will be the person who has been more successful than really their achievements suggest to that. They're more beautiful, they're more successful in love, they're more brilliant, wealthier, whatever, and it's this very inflated sense of ego. But there's a really dark side to them because they also feed off others. They cannot feel good about themselves at all without feeding off others and having a constant need to be admired, adored, appreciated, revered. And they need people that are willing to be a supply for them, that constantly are soothing their ego, telling them they're great, telling them how fabulous they are. And very often they find the type of person who is also quite insecure and low in self-esteem, somebody who is willing to put their needs above their own and will put them first because that's what they need. They need someone to put them first. They need to be the center of attention. They need to be the one that person totally focuses on them and that they can totally control, because then they feel more secure. So they need someone they can control. So they find somebody who is like them in a way, very low in self-esteem, who puts them first, puts their needs above their own, even when they start to see that darker side, that nastier side, that abusive side, who believes them when they says, oh, that's not really me. I promise I will change, and sticks with them and loves them more and tries to prove to them they are the one, that they can be one, you know, they can heal their damaged soul because that person can see that they're really damaged underneath and wants to protect them and rescue them. And so it becomes this really toxic, unhealthy dynamic of the narcissist who needs someone to feed off, to make them constantly feel good about themselves, and the person who is also low in self-esteem but feels better when they have someone that they can rescue and save, because then I'm important. Then, you know, I'm better than the girlfriend or boyfriend that went before because I'm going to be the one that saves them. And that makes us feel good about ourselves. So it's a very sort of screwed up, dysfunctional, unhealthy relationship. But the problem with it is the malignant narcissists, they have an absolute constant need for that validation from outside, and you're never, ever, ever going to be able to give them enough of that. And in the end, they will just suck you dry. And you will get on this toxic cycle of abuse that there's no good that will come out of it, because they never are going to change, and you're never going to get that person that you believe they are deep down inside. You'll just end up being driven into the ground, have no self-esteem left. And when you're no longer that source of supply to them, you can no longer give them what they want, they will just discard you. And you will be left a damaged person from that relationship. So, yeah, narcissists, it's all about them. It's all about them. Their needs come first. Yours will never. Even though at first they can make you feel wonderful because they're so charismatic. The bottom line, whether they just have narcissistic personality disorder and some of those traits of inflated sense of ego, setting rules for you, shifting the goalposts, that sort of manipulative behavior, or whether they are covert and it's more passive aggressive, or whether they're that malignant narcissist that really needs to feed off somebody. And when you confront them with the reality of their abusive behavior, they will just go into even more manipulative tactics. They'll lie to you. They'll say that you're the one who's abusing them and they're the victim. They'll gaslight you, telling you you're imagining it, you're crazy. They'll tell others, make out to others that they're the real victim and you are the abusive one, and drive you absolutely crazy. The longer you stay with a narcissist, the harder it is going to be to leave. So recognize those traits in a narcissist. Recognize that it's not about you. Your needs will never come first. It is only ever about them. And protect yourself. Learn the signs. Read the warning signs. Don't deny them, minimize them, and ignore them. People show you who they are very early on in a relationship. You just need to watch them and look. Watch what they do. Watch their actions. Narcissists are great at saying everything they think you want to hear. You're the only one in the world for them. They need you. You're better than anyone who's ever come before. They're the one who's going to make them change into this amazing person that they're promising they're going to be. But their actions will be something different. Their actions won't be in line with that. They will reveal their true self sooner rather than later, and you'll only get that parasitic, vampiristic, sucking you dry sort of relationship. So recognize them, don't ignore them. And if you see any signs of narcissistic type behavior, I would run a mile. Trust me, the longer you're with them, the harder it is, because you're exposed to that really manipulative behavior, and you lose that sense of yourself, and you sort of wonder, where did I go? I'm not me anymore. But you're so low in self-esteem, it gets harder and harder to leave. So I hope that helps. If you like this video, please click the like button, the thumbs up, subscribe to my blog, to my YouTube channel, and do share so you can help me spread the word. I'll see you in the next video.